It's the biggest opportunity in the history of the world.
Right now can actually be one of the greatest opportunities of your lifetime.
This crash is going to be so big, even if they solve the coronavirus crisis, it's still going to crash. You've got to be so much smarter. So I was down $800,000 at 32 years old. And my rich dad and my poor dad, my poor dad was a great guy. He's a school teacher, head of education for the state of Hawaii. And my poor dad felt sorry for me. And my rich dad says, hey, congratulations. You lost your first business. See, it's in the mindset. He says most entrepreneurs will lose 3 businesses. So rather than run and declare bankruptcy, he says, look, go talk to all your investors, tell them you messed up, tell them you're going to work it out, you're going to pay them back, and go fix that business of yours. So rather than run and hide like some of my partners did, this is in Hawaii where I started the Velcro wallet business. I had to go back in and kind of find out most of the mistakes I made. And then when I could pay people back, because the business was up and running, then I started to pay people back from the successful operation. So I learned more from failing than I did in all my years of school. And in real life, the people that make the most mistakes are the smartest people. So the average person, they go out and they buy a house and say, oh, it's an asset. But every month, it's flowing straight to the bank. So your money flows straight to the bank. Not that intelligent. I want the money to flow from the bank to me. So it flows to the bank. Or what they'll do is they'll buy a stock or a bond or a mutual fund, and it's an asset, and it flies straight to Wall Street. Not your asset, it's Wall Street's asset. And the third line, when you look under expense, first line is tax. So the average employee, like my poor dad, with a high-paying job, the money comes in, goes straight out the taxes and to the government. Makes sense? So when you get a job, first line, taxes, second, mortgage to the bank, third, your 401k or your IRA, straight to Wall Street. Look at this chart here. It's called the cash flow quadrant. E and S, employee and self-employed. That was my poor dad. These guys work for money. These guys are not capitalists. They work for money and they invest their own money. On the B and the I side is my rich dad side. That's the capitalist side. Capitalists use other people's labor and other people's money to get rich. Which side do you want to be on? I'd rather be on the capitalist side. So that's the only difference. It's a whole shift of mindset and education. But everybody can do it if you want to do it. The reason I make more money is because it's not what I'm doing what I love. I do sometimes what I hate so I can have the assets that I love. I love having a business. So the business affords me the lifestyle I want. And then I invest in real estate. This is what I know. The higher the risk, the more education it takes. How badly you want to learn. Most people don't have it. They want a job, they want job security, they want a paycheck, they want a 401k. And that's why they don't get to come here. That's why they don't get to come over here. Nothing right or wrong, I don't ever want to be here. I knew when I was your age I wanted to come here, but the higher the risk, the higher the returns, but also the higher dedication, education, and study you have to go through. The rich don't work for money. His number one expense is tax. See, there's 3 kinds of income: earned, portfolio, passive. So earned income is if I get a job, that's earned income. If I'm a doctor or a programmer, that's earned income because I'm working for it. If I buy, let's say, Apple for $10 and I sell it for $20, that's portfolio income, capital gains. Yeah. But passive income, which is cash flow, is never taxed. For those of you who remember 87, old enough, it wasn't just subprime crash. It took out the entire savings and loan industry. I mean, a whole banking system collapsed, and the savings and loans collapsed, just got taken out. So this market just kept crashing, and I kept saying to Kim, yes. So it was 87, 88, and it just got worse. And that's in 1989, at the height of pessimism, or the depth of pessimism, I said, yes, this is it. I'm gonna get rich now. And as Buffett always says, you always buy when the bears are selling. And when the bears finally give up, that's when you go in.
As you know, we learned little to nothing in school, but in fact, you'll find out that going to school actually diminishes your ability to get rich. So that goes counter to what everybody tells you. Go to school, get a job, and you'll make money. And that worked probably 1,000 years ago, not working today. The number one reason to be an entrepreneur is not about money. The number one reason to be an entrepreneur is personal development. To develop yourself to be, as the Army says, to be all you can be.
I always say the same thing that Jim says, and I say it on Laird Capital. I'm on Fox a lot. Right now, people say, well, I can't afford gold. Well, buy silver. Silver is so undervalued today. I can buy silver for $2. I can go to a coin dealer and buy a dime for $2, 10 cents for $2. Get that? So everybody can do something to get what I call real money, not fake money. In 1971, the US dollar became fake when Nixon took us off the gold standard. And as I write about in my book, Fake, in 72, I was flying behind enemy lines, and I went to buy my first gold. The trouble is, Americans don't know what gold was. Plus, in 72, I finally bought my first Krugerrand for about $50 in Hong Kong, and I became a criminal because I had to smuggle that Krugerrand into the United States because it was illegal for Americans to own gold. Thank God in 74 or 75, they made it legal again. But that Krugerrand, I paid, let's say, $50 for it. Today it's worth $1,500. Now, who was smarter, the guy who saved money or the person who saved gold? And silver's in that same category right now at about $15. So anybody says, I can't afford gold or silver, I don't know what rock they're living in.
Let's just say this, people say, what can I do? Well, everybody can go out and buy silver right now. Mm-hmm. Silver price went down today. It's good news. It's less than $20. Everybody in the world can afford $20. But again, out of 100, only 2 might buy silver. This is the greatest opportunity in the history of the world. It's also the worst time in world history. But what you do with it is up to you.
Hope is for hopeless people. There's only activity.